is Inge, coming to you from Inge's Knitting Lab in Denmark. In these podcasts, I talk about my combined passion for knitting and science. And you may hear from my voice that I'm still recovering from a severe case of the flu. It's a really aggressive variant this season, I will say. But today I've defined myself well enough to make the video. It's already been 4 weeks since the last video, and this is a lot of time for me. But it's been a crazy busy week, 4 weeks, both with activities in the family, but also working with this late stage design change of mine for the female edition of the tree trunk sweater. But more about that later. If you are new to this channel, welcome. Just a brief overview of the tree trunk sweater and my inspiration. I was very inspired by the forest trees and my grandson starting in forest kindergarten last summer, so I wanted to make a whole forest collection series of sweaters for him. So that's what I've been doing, and now I'm trying to convert them from children's sweaters into adult sweaters. And the first one is this tree trunk sweater. And I saw this picture of the tree trunk hug, and I saw that I would like to make some resembling this bark of the trunk. And I thought, well, this 3x1 rib would be perfect, and have a snuggly or squishy yarn. So I thought, well, I would like to give myself 3 goals or 3 targets with this design. First of all, it should be a timeless and classic design for everybody to wear and easy to knit. And second, I would like to use a very durable yarn so that you would have a sweater for years without changing or looking worn, so to speak. And I would like to have a yarn without chemicals, so non-superwash, a merino-like yarn, and very nice to skin, and if possible with no artificial dyes, so woolen colors, natural sheep color options if possible. And I found this yarn, and I have done extensive testing for the last half year, so we will see the results today. And the third goal for me was that I would like to make a sweater that would fit everybody's size. And is that even possible? Yeah, let's see later on in the video and give it a go. And I will let you be the judge if I have met all 3 goal criteria of my sweater here. And for this video, we will focus on the female body types and how to knit and make knitwear to the most flattering ones for your body type. And we will look at some posters before I let you into my designer lab once again, and we will walk over all the options of this sweater design for females, just like we did in episode 13 for the male version. So that's the focus of today. And afterwards we will talk a bit about the practicalities of the test knitting, that is how to acquire yarn and so on. And last but not least, a bit of discussion on possible yarn substitutions for this design. So a busy program like usual, so let's continue. Let's dig right into the first poster here, showing the 7 body types, and we will go by the one by one, but you will soon learn that more of them have common traits when it comes to different designs being more flattering for this specific body type. So just a short disclaimer before we start. Of course, you can do any design you like, dress just exactly as you like, but this should be some kind of guidance on which could be more flattering designs on your specific body type when it comes to knitting or clothes in general. But before we take them one by one, I was thinking, well, when you look at design and do the calculations and so on, it has been more obvious to me that there are some general kind of ratios when it comes to bodies. So I thought, well, could I dig into this? Is there probably some nature genius ratio, something to look at? And there is. Take a look at the female and male silhouette here on the right hand side of the poster. And let's look at the proportions. So let's say the full length of the body is A, the upper body is B, and the lower body is C. So you see the division here right at the belly button place. Then it's actually like this. It is a universal ratio in nature, so that when you take A divided by B and B divided by C, it gives you a constant, and this is called phi. It is 1.618 and even more numbers because it's an infinite number. And you may think, yeah, and who cares? Isn't it just a curiosity for science lovers or math lovers? Yeah, it may be the foundation of it and digging into it, but the application of it is very interesting for everybody, I think, because this human ratio this ratio in nature provides harmony when you divide everything in 1/3 and 2/3. It looks pleasing for the eye. So you can use this principle and give it guidance to you on how to put the cuts or how to dress to give you harmony for the eye. So with that in mind, let's move on to the next poster and see if we can play a bit with these 1/3 and 2/3. So I've added in here, you can see a rectangle, and if you look at it from the left hand side and right hand side and from top down and bottom up, I have divided it into 1/3 and 2/3, and now it looks kind of like a flag, right? And yes, also when designing flags, this principle is used. So let's try to make an overlay of these male and female silhouettes and see what happens. Because when you go into the details of it, actually males and female ratios are not exactly the same. It's approximated to this ratio, but in order of simplicity, let's play that it is actually the exact ratio. So now here you can see the overlay in the male and the female, and we could do it in many ways and scale it and still be 1/3 and 2/3. And you can see here on the female that the shoulders are equal width as the hips, which gives us, with the approximation, actually the ideal, considered the ideal female body type, being the hourglass shape, which is very pleasing to the eye. And the male version, I could what's it called, adjust this angle to tell you that a rectangle, to tell you that when you look at the shoulder part and the hips part, there's also a ratio, so that the male inverted triangle would be the ideal pleasing for the eye for the male type. And we could go on and make more, try to rotate and do scaling of this 1/3 and 2/3 to make the cuts for the body pleasing for the eye. Let's look at the first one as being the hourglass shape, considered nature's ideal. So as this is the ideal, no illusions are needed here. You have fuller hips and bust and a significant waistline, and the bust and the hips are equal in size as we saw before. So just play around with your ideal body here, so to speak. I guess not many of us are blessed with the ideal body, but it doesn't matter. I will show you. We all look lovely in every way, in our own way. But this body type, yeah, you look flattering, and you would show off your hourglass shape if you use form-fitted knits or wrap tops and peplum tops, and use V-necks, round neck, boat necks, yeah, any neck you like actually. And if you want to draw even more attention to your waistline, then you can leave the sleeves end at your waistline, so 3/4 length, I guess you would call it, and flutter sleeves, cap sleeves. These are the ones just a bit below your shoulder cap here, and crop sweaters would also be nice. So maybe you should avoid very oversized and boxy sweaters, because then you are not showing your lovely figure, but anything, I guess, will look flattering on you. So let's move on to the other ones, trying to approximate and balance a way to dress to make you the illusion of an hourglass shape. In the triangle shape here, you see here, you have a more fuller hip than the shoulders, and in that case you would want to balance your shoulders and hips and make the shoulders look wider and draw attention away from your hips, so to speak, to your upper body. And you can do that by using lighter color sweaters on the top, and then the bottom part, your pants and so on, will be can be a darker color, so that the eye will go upwards. If you would like to hear more about optical illusions and how colors and stripes and geometrical figures can help you also in the design of knitwear, then go look at my episode 13. I dig into that theme there. So for now, we just accept or leave the fact that this could be a good idea, and it is recommended here that horizontal shaped necklines, so boat necks, turtlenecks, crew necks, everything going up high and accentuating your upper body would be nice. And also use of larger colors with volume would be nice. Short sleeves to stop before the widest point of your hips. And drop shoulders could also be very nice, because then it will make your shoulders seem wider. And long cardigans below your widest point on the hip. So in this case, it would be nice to avoid tight hems around your hips, or ruffles at the sleeve cuff of long sleeves, so that actually they will stop right at the widest point of your hips. So we move forward to the inverted triangle shape. And here is just the opposite, that you have a full upper body than the lower body, so larger shoulders in circumference than your hips. So this time you want to draw the attention away from the shoulders and towards your lower body, and balancing hips and shoulders so that these hips looks wider. And you can do this also by using colors, so darker colors on your upper body, drawing the eye downwards to maybe lower or lighter colors in your lower body. So it is recommended to use broad open necks so that you will show more skin on the upper body. It will help you um, diminish the illusion. So it will give you the illusion of a less voluminous upper body, and also set in bell sleeves, tapered sleeves at the upper arm. Everything you can do to avoid extra volume on your upper body. Um, and also use waist shaping, even though you may think you don't have a waist. So actually also use the empire cut, so just below your bust at your high waistline, make a cut there and use an A-line, kind of simulating that you have hips with more volume. So it is recommended to avoid turtlenecks, boat necks, or large collars, drop shoulder sleeves that would kind of work in the opposite direction, giving you more volume on the upper body. Yes, so we move on to the rectangular shape, and this shape is also called the athletic body type. So this is different in the way that it's just like it's written here in you have the same measurement, kind of like all the way from top to bottom, so no waistline. So you want to balance it in the way that you either make the top part look wider than the bottom part, or the other way around. So this is a bit different than the other types, because here you could recommend halter neck tops and scoop or round necklines, even strapless designs, top designs, and quarter like sleeves, so that everything that stops and kind of marks the waistline, or the idea of a waistline. So you could do that by using cropped sweaters, or again make an A-line waist design. So in this body type, you would also avoid turtlenecks, boat necks, and large collars and drop shoulder sleeves, so that you will not make the upper body um, wider than it already is. So it is actually the dimensions of the hourglass shape, just minus the waistline. Looking at the diamond shape, we can see here that it's kind of like the inverted triangle shape, however with a fuller midsection. So again, we want to draw attention away from the upper body, and we do that with creating the illusion of less volume by showing more skin with the V-necks, the scoop necks, flowery tunics, so making set in bell sleeves, fitted long sleeves, and again the empire cut with the A-line along with it, so high-waisted. Also short sleeves ending at the point just below your butt at the smallest circumference. And you could also use here asymmetric bottom hems, for example rounded hems and so on. And again, avoid the turtlenecks, the boat necks, and large volume collars or drop shoulder sleeves. Yeah, in total boxy designs. And let's look at the second last shape here, being the rounded shape. You could also call it the apple shape. So again, it's kind of like the inverted triangle, but with a fuller midsection. So it's repetition now that try to make the upper body look smaller by showing more skin. So V-necks, A-line shaping, the scoop necks, the fitted sleeve, and knee-like length cardis or hems going further down. Don't let them stop in your midsection, but let them go a bit further down to avoid attention on the midsection. And again, avoid the turtlenecks, boat necks, and large collars, drop shoulder sleeves. It's becoming repetition. Let's move on to the last body shape, the pear shape. And it is an amazing shape because it allows you to do many other possibilities that the other shapes doesn't do. Here it resembles the triangle shape in the sense that you have the full hip section and a smaller upper body. So you want to draw attention to the upper body, and you can do that by going wild on the upper body here. So like drawing attention by using bold colors and catching the eye, and also think of doing the upper body with set-in sleeves, but make the sleeves wild, so to speak, puff sleeves or any other fancy sleeves, so that you make the illusion that also your shoulders are as wide as your hips. So as long as you consider having this high waistline and maybe also this A-line, so that again your sweater or your tunic or something ends at the smallest point of your thigh. So you can have a rather well close-fitting top as long as you consider this waistline. And I was thinking when I was growing larger and I had a more full midsection once than the shoulders and hips, I was thinking like, well, I would like to hide this tummy and using oversized clothes and long and loose hanging and so on. But actually this wasn't the best idea and the most flattering one, but that's kind of what it felt like. And I guess before reading and exploring all this, I would have never thought that it would be a good idea for me with this pear shape to have um, a waist cut or a cropped cut, so to speak, or this empire cut. But try it out and have a look out there with different models doing so. It looks gorgeous. So I mean, there are so many possibilities for all of us with our different body shapes. I can talk to myself. We just have to be a bit more daring perhaps, and maybe be open to doing it in another way that I've been doing it for years. So I will definitely try something new after having seen this and explored. So I hope this was some kind of helpful, or if you totally disagree or you have other things you have found flattering, please share and comment so that we can all be wiser on how to dress for and knit for our body type. Just before we walk, figuratively speaking, into my designer lab, talking about the different pattern options for different body types, let me just share some questions I've had from more viewers. And these were concerned viewers. Thank you so much for the feedback. They asked me, Inge, are you not afraid that other designers will steal your ideas and your design? We find you more open and honest than commonly seen in this designer environment. And I was yeah, both happy and and surprised to read it. But and my immediate thought was, no, I'm not afraid at all. But it gave me some food for thought, and I have good discussions with my husband on what to share and not to share. Uh, but at the end of the day, I reached the same conclusion. No, I'm not afraid of sharing, and I will tell you why. Because I highly and truly believe in knowledge sharing. Because only by sharing and exchanging ideas and projects, we become wiser and better knitters, not just as an individual, but also as a whole in this community. And I consider us a community of co-spirited, passionate knitters, just wanting to have fun with our projects and be better knitters. And we are really dependent on each other to get this inspiration, right? Because um, not all inspiration comes from within, and we depend on each other to build on each other's skills and ideas and techniques and get new learnings, so that we get wiser as individuals and as a unity, as a whole. And only in that way we will get to the next level that nobody could have done on their own, because we had each other. And we need that to see new designs not even made before, or yeah, all that fun stuff. But uh, yeah, having said that, I mean, I expect and hope that other designers, they will not steal my sweater before I've even managed to publish it myself, of course. That would be very poor sportsmanship, wouldn't it? And yeah, I I try to meet people with trust and openness. And yeah, when thinking about it, uh, you, yeah, what should I say? You, if you are constantly suspicious of other people, and you have to look over your shoulder and being afraid, I think that will eat you up, and you will, uh, it's not healthy for you. And you will get a much fuller life and happier life if you meet people with openness and trust until proven otherwise, um, and can embrace that we are all different and have different approaches to life and values. uh, Sometimes it's not that easy, but we can all try to do our best, right? And in my experience, you get what you give. So, um, yeah, in my experience, you most often get even more that you could have hoped for or expected. And I also think that is the same thing in this community, by all your lovely viewers. So, yeah, that's where I come from. So you may think, isn't she a bit naive? Yes, I guess I am. I have been called naive once or twice, and I have also been fooled. I will admit it flat down. And hopefully, I've learned by the experience and know how to tackle it going forward. But it will still not change my approach to people, because I believe this is a better way for me, and then I will have to live with possible consequences, if any poor ones. But I think I have been blessed with very, very few times of me being, yeah, rucksacked. Is that the German word? I don't know. It just came to me. But no. So, with these words, uh, please, as I get inspired by you, please feel free to use my ideas. And hopefully, now going to the next section of the video, you will find some inspiration in my world. let's move on. First, I will share some tricky parts about sweaters in general, but I guess also this sweater in particular, because my question to you, have you tried following the pattern, being a good pupil, doing the gauge swatching, blocking, and so on before you started your project, and you are spot on? The sweater once blocked fits you nicely, but then you start wearing it and you see that actually uh, you see shrinkage. Your arms suddenly get shorter by time, and maybe also the body part. So what happens? I guess it's just natural properties of wool. However, maybe this pattern has not been extensively tested so that it will be durable and everlasting with more wears and still be the same as you expected in length. So you end up with these short sleeves and so on. Many things could happen, but that could be one thing. So this is the reason why I have tested this one extensively. Since last August, no, September, I don't know, half a year, my grandson has used this quite a lot, and my husband has used this every day since he came home from work. He put this on and he uses it for every activity from picking firewood for the fireplace and so on, whatnot. And I have washed these once during this half year, and I have used the, where is it? Lint remover to remove the pillings once, because I showed in another video that uh, the pilling was shown after some wear, and I thought, wow, didn't it not live up to my expectations? But I got wiser. They could easily be removed, and it's a common feature of these non-superwash, at least wools, which are that they do, merino wools, they do some pilling at start, but then it diminishes, and hopefully by time it has depilled what it should or could, and then it looks yeah, as almost as good as new. So now I will let you be the judge. So one wash each of these, and lots of daily wear, and one time I have been depilling it. But now I would like to show it to you before I remove the peelings once again, so that you can see how it looks. So let's look at the place where it would be the most wear. So for my husband, it would be here where he sits with his tummy up against the desk. He has sedentary work sometimes, and also when carrying things on his tummy. And it would be here on on the on the sleeves, and also for my grandson. Let's see here. So not much left, I would say. I am quite impressed. I will say it looks nice compared to many sweaters I have knitted. So I still praise this yarn. And now I will do the depilling, and we can look at it when we have talked about some of the other stuff and see if you are just as impressed as me and think that this looks very nice compared to other non-superwash merino sweaters you've made in your day, maybe. So that's about open and honesty from my side here, because I want to develop something with a good yarn that can be everlasting and be your, as I said, favorite sweater to wear if you want daily. So back to the shrinkage of the yarn. So what I saw and observed was then that the blocked version had shrinked lengthwise as expected with a non-superwash merino, and once wearing it, it has shrinked a bit more, and now it has been constant for the last 3 months of daily wear. It doesn't shrink anymore. So you can rely on the length now. So this is important to understand when I'm now in a minute talking about all these options and considerations of the design, because I have built in this shrinkage factor. So when you knit this sweater, you think, well, how long arms do you think we have, Inge? You have been talking about balance and so on. So, but it is because I have added in the extra length. So don't be afraid after the first blocking and the first wear, it will be sitting the right place and stay there for a long time. One more thing that just struck me while talking about, I have only washed this sweater once and they have worn it daily and so on. I'm not exaggerating. You may think, phew, it has to smell right, but it doesn't. And that's the wonderful thing about natural woolen yarns. Uh, they transpire the sweat and doesn't allow a buildup of liquid or sweat here to get to accommodate growth of bacteria and so on. So actually, when just leaving it rest and ventilate a bit, it will not smell at all. It's wonderful. Yeah, it's crazy. Nature is wonderfully crazy. But now knowing this about the yarn, let's move on to the different options and take them from top down. So now we are wiser on how to shape a neckline to fit your body type. We can look at the posters once again or remember, like me, that actually only one type of shapes recommends a turtleneck or a tight crew neck or high neck. All the other types um recommends more like a more deeper neck. So I guess that would be the optimal option for this sweater. However, I am so in love with this high neck of the sweater. So instead of making a design change so that only the triangular shape can use this sweater, I have just made more options. So you can continue and do this one. Maybe I should try it so you can see how it looks at me. You know, I'm in an inverted triangle, so it's more flattering to me with a more open, more skin here.
Sorry, Micro Voice Assistant is turned off. Please turn it on via app.
I'm sorry, this was our robot vacuum cleaner talking to me. I don't know why it says it's turned off. I haven't turned off anything from here. Sorry. Maybe it's pushed a bit out of place in the station. Okay. So it is a bit hard to see, but one option is, of course, to leave. Maybe it's not so nice of me to show it to you when the sweater is not done, because then it's kind of skewed. And as I said, I have counted for extra fabric to shrink during blocking, so you can actually not tell how it looks like when finished, but to give you an idea. So one option is, of course, to make the length of the neckband as I recommend, and I just think it's very nice. And of course, even though I say it's maybe not the most flattering thing for you, feel free, as I said, to use whatever you like. I like this one. Maybe I'll just do it. But anyway, option 2 is just to make it half the length, and you will get a more open neckline. And option 3 is to make it even more wide to allow for more visible skin. So let me show you this one. I will let you see one final for me when we do the pattern release in size 2XL. I will wear it for you, but not just yet. Okay, so option 3, where there's a more wide neckline, and this is also an option. So in this sweater, you can do the neckline that you find the most flattering for your body type. So I think that is quite fine. And actually, if I have knitted this in 2 pieces and added together, it has been much less complex to design than when doing it in this way with a set-in sleeve and in the round and picking up and making sure everything fits. But that's how it is. That's how I like it. Challenging. Okay, now you've seen that one. And then we moved to the sleeve cap. We talked a lot about it just to show you then when a designer makes a sweater, you don't make a full sweater every time. You take this part of the sweater that you want to test. You can see in order for me to test the neckline, I have to do the first sleeve cap shaping and reach the point where I can make the neckline to see how it looks like. So that's how it is. But the sleeve you can do like this. I wanted the approximated set-in bell sleeve. No more talking about this one, because that's not an option. That's how it is with the sleeve. And luckily you could see by all the different types that all the different body types will look flattering in a set-in sleeve like this. So that's nice. Yeah, so now we reach the bust darts. So let me show you. When you in this design have reached the part where you have separated the sleeve from the body and have picked up or cast on stitches under the arm, I ask you to try on the sweater. If not before, then now. Because when you reach the fullest point of your bust, you can also look at the picture here beside me. When you have the fullest point of your bust and look at your back, if the back is longer than the front, then you need bust darts, however the size of your bust. So it is typically when you are here an inch or two after the cast on the sleeve. So then in the pattern, I have 3 options for the bust darts. You make the bust darts the same way. It's made in the way that you do short rows, and in that way you add some extra fabric here where you need it so that your sweater will not raise. And the bust darts are made between these tree trunk stripes, so you hide it in the purl stitches, so it will not be noticeable in that sense, otherwise, but in the sense that the stripes change direction, right? So I think that is kind of a nice feature of the design, that you see kind of, yeah, it's it's what is it called? Fitted in that sense. Okay, so the tricky part here when going to the options, when you have reached the fullest part and you are wearing your favorite bra, so that we know exactly the good location to be on your apex. Then I ask you to knit some more, and you think, well, how come? Again, this is a shrinkage factor, because when you wash and block it, you want it to be sitting in the right place, this bustdart. So therefore, depending on your size, you need more or less, and it's written in the pattern how much you need. And then you go in the pattern for 3 different options of length you need extra to align with the back, depending on your bust. You may need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even more centimeters, depending on your size. And then you pick the number of rows to do. And if you need much fabric, you will have a distance of half a tree trunk. If you need not so many centimeters or inches, then you do the turns here in between the pearls. So that's how you do it. And just exactly when you have finalized your bust darts, you are actually ready to do the tailor, no, what do I call it? The waist shaping or A-line shaping, actually. Because if you recall, for many of these body types, it is recommended to use an empire cut. In this sweater, it's not a cut like in front of or just below the bust or something, but you start shaping the waist here, the high waist, from just here below the bust. So you start the decreases here for the waistline, and then do a piece without decreases, and then start increasing again. And if you are using an A-line for the more fuller midsection, you don't do decreases, you just start increases. And some of the options, you will do like the hourglass and stop once you have increased just as many as you decreased. And you can also increase more if you want a more A-line figure or a tailor-made sweater. So before we look at the details, I just want to say to you, it's not like when people watch you wearing this sweater, they would think, wow, she has certainly made these increases and decreases. It's very obvious in the sweater. It's not, it's kind of like helping the illusion. So take a look at this picture of my husband. Would you know, could you guess how many stripes we have reduced from his shoulder area to his waistline to accommodate his inverted triangle shape? And do you think it looks like it's not a straight down sweater? I don't think so. Let's have a look. Let's have a look how many, because he is quite wide for his size over the shoulders here, and look down at the hips, it's much smaller. So let me now tell you how many stripes we reduced in each side. So actually 4 in each side, and remember it's a stitch count of 20 stitches per 10 centimeters. So 4 in each side, that's 8, and 8 times 4 is 32. So it's more than 10 centimeters of decrease. And look at his picture. Are you thinking, well, what is this? And that's what I'm saying. Don't be afraid of not making a straight down sweater. You won't notice, otherwise people hopefully tell you, wow, what is this kind of design? It kind of builds on your body strength and looks flattering on you. That's what I'm saying. So, okay, let's look at how we do it, because again, we would like the symmetry of these decreases when doing the waistline. So I just take another one here and it is depending on the number of stripes you cast on under the arm, whether or not it's a detail, whether or not the center stitch is a knit stitch or in between trunk stripes. But anyway, the options are in the pattern. So you can see here, it looks quite symmetrical. And when you look at the sweater, you won't notice other than enhancing your nice body traits. So yeah, that was about doing the hourglass waistline shaping, but also the A-line shaping. And now for the bottom part, the hem, I mean. I'm not doing anything fancy. It's just a ribbed hem, as you can see. And it's not like I intend to do the hem just as wide as the sweater, so I just use a needle size that will get the same gauge when doing 1x1 ribbing as doing the 3x1 ribbing here. So it will not kind of look bulky over the ribbing hem. Okay. I guess that was it for the options for this sweater. Maybe I forgot one, and this would be if you want your short rows to be not in the bust part, but here in the tummy part, if you have a fuller apple shape kind of, and would like some extra fabric not to have the sweater raise on you, then you just do in the middle section where you would do the waist, straight waist piece. Of course, when you have a fuller tummy, midsection here, you won't do the waistline here, and then also do these what's it called, short rows. So you just stick with the short rows here, and then instead, as recommended, you would use the A-line from up here and just use short rows in this section. So yeah, with all these options in one pattern, I hope it will not be too complicated or anything, but it is meant for a help for everybody to have a wonderful sweater of to be their favorite one. So please let me know if your experience with tailor making or doing options for female body sizes and so on. I would love to hear your comments, and you will still have some influence, I would say, because we are now starting the test knitting and we can do things in the pattern until it is released, even though I said there is a lot of data in Excel now. Of course, you have to be open to changes if it is not the right way to do it. So thank you for listening, and let's move on to the talk about test knitting. Just before we forget it, I promised you to use the lint remover, and you can see here there is wool pills in the storage. Robin's baby sweater. Look. You will see me smiling because I'm just as, a bit anxious, just like you, showing this on screen for the first time, how it actually works. What would have happened if this wasn't nice and I have spent all this time developing a pattern for a bad yarn? Well, wow. But look. So of course you will see me smiling, being very happy. It looks as good as new. And let's look at the sweater of my husband. I haven't deep heeled the whole sweater because now I'm making movies, but I will show you this part here where he carries things on his stomach. What do you think? you can tell on my face, I think this yarn has passed. You can freshen your sweater, you can deep heel it. I think twice will suffice, and it has deep heeled what it can with the loose fiber, and yeah, you have a piece to wear many times for years, and maybe even to inherit for upcoming babies. And this leads me to yet another good news, because Robin is to become a older brother. He will have a sibling in August. My daughter is expecting, so wow, we are very happy as grandparents. And so this little family collective will be increased, and I will hope to enjoy this spring and summer with my pregnant daughter, and we will have fun and cozy times together in the lovely garden. And yeah, so perfect. I'm happy. So what could you wish for more than two grandchildren this year? Remember, my son is also expecting, and this is in April, so soon to come. Yeah, so this is totally out of focus for this episode, but maybe could I show you? No, it's not here. But I've started making a small sweater for the baby, just like a sweater I made for my son. So father and son with the same kind of sweater. Wouldn't that be fun? I think, at least. Okay, but moving on to the test knitting. Now talking about entering the test knitting phase. I am so excited about it, but I also have butterflies in my stomach because this is my first time. But what helps me is that I've got so much nice advice from you viewers, and many of you contacting me already that would like to test knit. So step one is that if you're interested in test knitting for me, either of the children, the women, or the men's edition, please write me an email at gmail.com, ingesnitterlab@gmail.com. It's all in the description box. And let me know what you're interested in, which size, and so on. If you have written me before, just write me a short one again. In that way, I know that you are still interested, and we will all be in the mailing list. And I will make the mailing list, and we can start communicating together. And I will make a short questionnaire for you to fill in, and I guess we will share it at first in Google Docs for everybody to see it and learn each other. And then we can discuss and agree how to go on from there. Step 2 is how to acquire the yarn or get the yarn. And I have news numbers 2 or 3 now, good news, and that is I have contacted Viking manufacturing this yarn, and unfortunately they do not distribute this yarn themselves worldwide from their website, but they made a reference to another website in Norway, which delivers worldwide. And I talked to them, and they kindly provided me with the information on the next campaign of this yarn. I expect it to be 50% off in week 12, that is 2 weeks from now. So that's perfect timing. So you can get this yarn for a very, very nice price. I will do all the information in the description box, so you could get it either non-dyed or with the color you like, for example this one. And yeah, that was step 1 and step 2. And step 3, when I have some answers on these questionnaires, we are ready to move on to the next step, and kind of group in the correct space, or correct for us. So this decision is kind of floating. It's not floating, but it decided as yet, because in my world, I would opt for one of the advice or tips I had from one of your viewers. This website for test knitters, testing a community, that would be perfect. But on the other hand, I'm thinking I'm a new designer, and maybe I should go more low-key the first time, and let's see how it goes, and go on from there. Maybe this will be my one and only design, and the career ends there, or it takes on from here. You never know. So instead of building a big castle at first and a setup around something, I think I have learned over the years to start small with new businesses, and then grow when needed. I've tried that more times, so I think that will be the way for me. And yes, so in the group we will discuss and agree on the step number 3 and 4 and so on. So yeah, and if you're thinking, well, I would like to sign up for one of these sweaters for children, men or women, but I would like to do it in another type of yarn, uh, then there's yes, of course, everything is possible. And then there's yeah, what to do, because as you can see by now, I have put very much effort into this design, using this yarn and knowing it by heart, so that I can be sure for my customers that they will get a nice sweater they can wear for years and be their favorite sweater. But if you use another type of yarn, it won't get tested in your size that way, and I will not know, and I cannot guarantee you that it behaves the same way. Having said that, I mean, with the children's sweater and the men's sweater, I don't think it's a big problem. We can easily, yeah, when I say easily, it's more easy to adjust to another type of yarn than it would be for the women's edition, because it's a more complex knit. So the row gauge here is very important, and all the recalculations. So I mean, if we would use this in a different gauge, it's a different kind of yarn with a different shrinkage factor and so on, it would be a new pattern. So with that said, I mean, I'm the type of person saying, never say no, because nothing is impossible in life. It's just a matter of how you approach it. So that's my motto. But I also know I have to be realistic. So at some point you need to put kind of the corner flags in and say, now we are here in this area to work within. But don't refrain from talking to me about it. Just send me an email and let's see about your suggestions. And actually, some of you kind viewers has already contacted me about doing test knitting and doing it in another type of yarn also. So I think in one of the first meetings or yeah, communications, let's address all this. So with that being said, let's move on to alternative yarns and what I have tried to figure out by now. I have a huge basket here with a lot of different yarns and also a lot of different colors, because already with the sweaters I'm making now for family and friends, tree trunk sweaters, they have different likings in colors, and that's always fun. So you get to knit with another color that you maybe wouldn't usually do yourself. But these are also alternative yarns. Of course, my main focus have been on the yarn I'm developing. So what I have been doing until now is find some yarns that have the same yardage, so to speak, yarn weight. So I use these 20 stitches per 10 inches for 4 inches 10 centimeters, and that's an Aran or worsted weight yarn. And so I've tried to find similar yarns. And also in my consideration, when starting this first design and picking a Nordic yarn, which is not easy to get worldwide, this was maybe a bad choice. But even so, we have so many lovely Nordic yarns. But which yarn would be readily available worldwide besides drops? I guess drops is easy to get everywhere, isn't it? And they have many nice bases, also affordable. So my first choice was to look within uh, within drops, and it would be natural to look at this drops daisy. Uh, but maybe you, if you have seen more of my episodes, you would know I have been testing this one, and it's also a non-superwash merino yarn. It's ever so soft, but it's also pilling. So, and it's pilling more than this one. So I have not tested it long enough. That is, it has been worn, but I haven't got the sweater from my daughter to see and show you where we are and if these pills are easy to remove and so on. So before talking this daisy yarn down, I would like to talk with facts and show you maybe in the next episode where we are, because this would of course be a natural substitution. I don't know how it behaves row-wise during wear. Also, again, when getting the sweater, I have more answers. Another base from drops would be Charisma. It's not a merino yarn, but a woolen yarn, and it feels soft, I would say. I haven't I haven't knitted anything in this base before, so maybe some of you viewers who are used to using Charisma can enlighten all of us on how it is. But I will say my first go doing this swatch in this color, favorite color of one in my family, I would say that before and after blocking, it behaves just like this one. So maybe I would expect by wear that it shrinks a little bit more, just like this Viking one. So this would be actually a true match alternative. I would expect so. Then viewers have asked me, couldn't we choose one more cotton merino blend for children? And as I said, nothing is impossible. So maybe by testing you get wiser. But I looked at this cotton merino from Drops. I'm also using cotton merino from Mayflower, and I made this swatch and blocked it. Wow, it looks nice, and it's also soft. But I guess when making this in cotton merino, how does it behave? Because we haven't talked about it actually with these sweaters. Do I have one to show you? Because when I made this one, I thought, well, for a girl like me, when you do ribbing and it's fits your body or clings to your body, that sounds bad, but it will slimline on your body. It doesn't, this one, because when we block it and you use it, it's like this, and it doesn't kind of stick to your body. So I'm not sure if this one would behave the same way. So maybe you should do it with more ease or so. I don't know. I haven't the experience, but any of you having the experience with cotton merino sweaters, please let me know. All I can say now is that it looks nice. It doesn't have the same gauge, I would say. Um, Not exactly. But as I said, for the children's edition, I don't think it's a problem because we can work in centimeters and inches and not so much in rows. Yeah, one other viewer said, why not use the soft tweed drops, because you showed that this was not pilling very much, and that's true. It has a kind of a different way of plying and spinning, so it's very nice for cables and so on. I haven't managed to make a swatch to see how this would look in this 3x1 ribbing yet. Another alternative could be double Sunday. It could be Peer Gynt. It's not a merino wool, but a Norwegian wool. It's a lovely yarn. I don't know if some would be more sensitive to this one than this one not being itchy at all. Yeah, do I have more examples here? No, I think I'm about it. Just my considerations about the baby pattern, because I have drafted the baby pattern also in this yarn, but thinking about harmony in your body and proportions being right, I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't use an worsted or Aran weight yarn for babies, but more like a fingering or a sport weight. So I like the properties of these Highland wools, so I tried. I have bought it has just arrived, and it's Hjertegarn, so it's Danish brand of Highland wool. So it is also a bit of a different spinning, but if you look, I'm in the middle of doing a swatch. So in this lovely burgundy color. So it looks nice, and I think the proportions are better. So before issuing this pattern for babies, I think I will change. But then I have to start over. This is a design change, a totally new gauge, and I have to do it over. But I think it's worthwhile because you have to balance for a very tiny, small body, right? And maybe you would say Highland wool for a baby, but it is very soft. These are, I'm not a sheep expert, not at all. I'm not an expert in any sense in the knitting community yet, but I mean, I guess this is the closest you get to merinos coming from this Andes. That was the word. Okay, what do you think? I have no clue of how long this video is. I've made so many retakes because Robin has been here and a lot of stuff is going on. So now it's night. I started in the morning, but I guess all the video I ended up retaking everything because Robin was talking to me. That's nice. And I had to fetch some snacks and food and water and play. And yeah, you know how it goes with grandchildren. And that's the charm of it. So, I mean, I hope you can can do with this lighting. So yeah, let's finish up this episode, and I'm all thrilled to learn if more of you would like to join me in this test knitting and get to the next phase of my knitting career. So Roger and over from Inge's Knitting Lab, color me happy and see you soon. Bye bye.